Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a good day to all of you. My name is Mazrul Hisyam bin Abdul Malik. I'm a postgraduate student from University Technology Malaysia Alam from Faculty of Business and Management. And I would like to present my research title Malaysia Humanitarian Logistics, a successful collaboration in humanitarian relief works between NGOs in Malaysia. So the introduction. What is humanitarian logistics? Cartwright et al. 2003 defined humanitarian logistics as the process of planning, implementing, and controlling the efficient, cost-effective flow and storage of goods and material, as well as related information from point of origin to point of consumption to meet the vulnerable and beneficiary requirements. Meanwhile, up to 2009, in his study, noted that humanitarian logistics is a specialized sector of logistics that supply chain for crucial commodities and services in response to demand surges, uncertain suppliers, tight timeframes, and broad scopes of operation. Why collaboration, cooperation, and coordination is very important in humanitarian logistics. Normala et al. 2018 India studies noted that a lack of inter-organizational cooperation and coordination in the context of humanitarian logistics can result in significant losses of human and material resources. So, our problem statement in this research are the first one is by Normala et al. 2018. Inter-organizational collaboration is a major subject in humanitarian logistics, particularly when it pertains to collaboration between humanitarian organizations and the private sector to deal with such a volatile environment. Meanwhile, Larson and Foropon 2018 noted that working with a wide range of stakeholders possess significant obstacles for humanitarian organizations. As a result, coordination between actors is difficult and efforts are frequently duplicated. So, our research question. What are the factors that influence the success and effectiveness of collaboration network between fellow NGOs and the authorities in carrying out humanitarian aid missions? And what are the successful framework for collaborations of humanitarian relief works among NGOs in Malaysia? So, our main references for this study is research by Prasanna and Havisto 2018, Von Barnard Fletcher Stein 2018, Martin Nolte and Vitolo 2016. But there are several few papers from other scholars in humanitarian logistics, such as a study from Olarontuba and Gray, Kovac and Spence, Jahre, Tomasini and Wessenhoff that we refer for this research. So, what are the things that motivate us to do this research? The things that motivate us to do this research is humanitarian work is really essential and it draws a large numbers of individuals who wants to join and succeed. However, when a large numbers of people desire to succeed, this study will want to explain how success in humanitarian aid can be achieved. When parties who wants to provide humanitarian assistance form a network of cooperations or collaborations, it is critical for them to identify factors that will help them succeed in their mission while avoiding things that will have negative impacts such as duplications of work, wastage or oversupply of aid donation, chaos and oppression, and so on. So the research idea came from the motivations of this research stem from the difficulties that frequently arise during humanitarian aid efforts, particularly when multiple parties are involved. Due to the lack of attention given by the organizers in carrying out this relief mission, problems such as miscommunications, duplications of work, and lack of independence in completing work will develop. This study adapts independent variables, the communication, coordination, and trust that affect the dependent variables, which is successful collaborations in humanitarian work. So these are the research framework that adapt from collaborative theory. Communication, trust, coordinations are interrelated each other that affect the successful collaborations of humanitarian works between NGOs in Malaysia. The data collection for this research being used is NGOs in Malaysia that involved in humanitarian works. The sample size is in time series, NGOs who involved during the period in the case study chosen. The data gathered by purposive sampling and conducting interviews. The research tools are The first one, the research apply basic empirical framework, a literature review to identify key themes, followed by a qualitative study in which respondents were interviewed. Okay, and then the researcher used qualitative methodologies in these investigations. Purposive sampling was used to identify the respondent, and the data will analyze using thematic analysis. So what's new in this research? So the findings of this study shows that communication occurs in every collaboration process, and the need for a person or unit to control information so that there is no confusion of information and humanitarian aid work, as well as the importance of the three variables in this study in the collaboration network. And also, this study found that coordination and mutual trust will boost NGOs' morale and spirit when it comes to carrying out humanitarian work. So what? So, our study suggests that parties who want to collaborate can improve their communication and information management, as well as coordinate and place trust based on another organization experience and background, rather than simply accepting and carrying out cooperation and collaboration without considering the ability and capacity of other stakeholders. The researcher has conducted an in-depth interview with 4 NGOs in Malaysia that have executed humanitarian relief works in the year 2020. The first one, organization involved during flood disaster in Johor in January 2020. Organization organized the COVID-19 medical kit supplies at Kuala Lumpur and Negeri Sembilan in June 2020, as well as organization execute the humanitarian relief supply foods for the homeless during fasting month Ramadan in Kuala Lumpur, April 2020. Themes and sub-themes for the research has been identified based on the variables, which are communication, coordinations, and trust. Okay, as a result, communication, trust, coordination will affect the successful collaborations of humanitarian works between NGOs in Malaysia. The respondent agreed that a good information management will improve their communication. The reputation of the stakeholders will increase their trust, and a good cooperation and a good synchronization of works will lead to a good coordination during humanitarian work. And then the findings of this study shows that communication and coordination occurs in every collaboration process, and trust is needed during the decisions to collaboration until the execution process. Okay, communication in collaboration process. Uh, Communication appears in all process of collaboration in humanitarian work, and any communication gaps will contribute to lack of understanding NGOs or stakeholders' ability to comprehend how collaboration work, and as a result, poor satisfaction with humanitarian efforts. According to Noel and Stillman 2015, failures in communication can lead to failures in coordinations of work. Second, coordination during collaboration work process. This study discovered that coordination is critical among the NGOs engaged and that it is required from the start of the collaborative process through the completion of the project. Solid coordination will result from effective communication. Third, trust affects the morale among NGOs in collaboration work process. Respondents noted that they greatly need the trust of people who help them carry out humanitarian aid operations, the background of the person, the reputations of the organization, as well as their expertise in humanitarian aid work can be used to assess trust. The trust offered can catalyze NGOs' passion and drive them in the success of their humanitarian work. And the successful collaborations, according to the study's interviews, how the NGOs express or classify that their project is successful is when they complete the allocated work. NGOs categorize their successful initiative and collaborative efforts according to the attainment of programs, objectives, and target. Okay, so for the conclusions of the research, the NGOs that are indirectly involved will develop strong morale if trust is granted in carrying out the task of purpose. The researcher hopes that the research framework described in this study will be used by the NGOs as a reference in carrying out humanitarian work in collaboration in the future, And it is very clear that communication, coordinations, and trust will affect the success of network of collaboration in humanitarian work. That's all. Thank you.